What's the one thing that can totally change the game for a young athlete that has nothing to do with drills or conditioning? It's language. Seriously. In this explainer, we're going to dig into the work of mindset coach Kari Ehmer to see how just a few simple words can unlock the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Let's get right into it.
I mean, you know the scene, right? Just walk onto any youth practice field or into any gym. You can almost hear the squeak of the sneakers on the court or the shouts from the sidelines.
And if you listen closely, underneath all that noise, you'll hear it. There's this other conversation happening. It's the language that's actually shaping how these young athletes see themselves. And let me tell you, it's one of the most powerful forces in their entire development.
Yep, that's what it sounds like. Phrases like, "I'm not good at this," or "I'll never be as fast as her." These are the telltale signs of what we call a fixed mindset. It's this deep-down belief that your talent is what it is. You're either born with it or you're not. And this kind of thinking, it becomes this invisible barrier, a ceiling on their potential, telling them their abilities are just set in stone.
So really, this whole thing boils down to two very different fundamental beliefs that can drive an athlete: the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset.
All right, let's break these down. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the belief that talent is just a static thing. You're either born a great athlete or, well, you aren't. And so every mistake feels like this final judgment on who you are. But on the other side, you've got the growth mindset. Here, talent is just the starting line. Real success comes from putting in the work, from learning, from being persistent. The whole focus shifts from being good to getting better. It's a huge difference.
Okay, so how do we actually build that growth mindset? The very first tool is all about how we recognize and praise our athletes. It might sound simple, but rethinking how we praise is maybe the most direct way we, as coaches, as parents, can shape that little voice inside their head.
Just look at the difference here. We all do it, right? We say things like, "You're such a natural." And hey, it sounds great in the moment, but what happens when that natural athlete has a bad day or when they struggle? They can start to feel like a total fraud. Now, compare that to saying, "I'm proud of how hard you worked." See? That praise is something the athlete is actually in control of, their effort. When we praise the process, the grit, the hard work, the courage to take a risk, we're helping build athletes who understand that struggling is just part of the journey, not some final verdict on their talent.
All right, let's move on to our second tool, which builds perfectly on this idea of process. And this one is so simple you can literally start using it the second this explainer's done. It all comes down to one single, incredibly powerful word.
You've heard it a million times. An athlete says something like this, and it sounds like a fact, right? Like a closed door. The athlete has just delivered their own verdict on their ability, and for them, the case is closed. It just feels final, absolute, defeating.
It feels final until you add this one little word. And just by adding that one word, everything changes. I can't shoot with my left hand yet. It's not a contradiction, it's a bridge to the future. All of a sudden, that statement isn't about a permanent failure anymore. It's just a temporary stop along the way. It's a promise of what's possible. It literally turns a closed door into an open path forward and gives everyone a shared plan. Okay, let's get to work on that.
Okay, our third tool is all about giving you the exact words to use in those really tough moments on the field or the court. It's about reframing mistakes, so they're not seen as dead ends, but as doorways to actually getting better.
Let's walk through these because they are pure gold. So a player takes a shot and misses. Instead of saying nothing, you say, "That was the right decision. Keep taking those. The makes will come." You just validated their choice, which builds confidence. Okay, next, a dropped pass or some other error. You say, "I love that you were ready and moving. Let's work on technique next rep." You praise the part they did right, the hustle, and immediately give them a path to improve. And what about when they get really frustrated? You validate it. You say, "It's okay to feel frustrated. That means you care. Let's use that energy to improve." Every single one of these scripts separates the outcome from the effort, and that is just a masterclass in coaching.
So why does any of this really matter? I mean, at the end of the day, we're not just talking about winning a game or scoring a goal. This stuff goes so much deeper than that.
And this is especially important when a team is having a tough season. You know, when the wins aren't showing up on the scoreboard, we have to look for the small wins. A win can be that kid who dives for a loose ball,
or the one who finally takes a shot they were afraid to try before. Or maybe it's just welcoming a new teammate. When we point out these wins, we show athletes that their growth, their character, is what really matters. We're telling them that even in a loss, they are still improving, still succeeding in ways that count.
You know, there's this great quote about it. Kids light up when they feel seen, especially when the recognition goes beyond stats and taps into who they're becoming. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? When you praise an athlete for their hustle, their courage, or their teamwork, you're looking right past the box score. You're seeing the person they are becoming. And that kind of recognition, man, that is powerful stuff. It builds a kind of confidence that lasts a lifetime.
So when you put it all together, praising the process, using the power of yet, reframing mistakes, what are we really doing? We're not just coaching a sport. We're teaching resilience. We're building a genuine life skill that's going to serve these kids in the classroom, in their future jobs, and in pretty much every relationship they'll ever have.
And that really leaves us with one final powerful question to think about. Forget the points scored or the games won for a second. The most important question any of us, as a coach or a parent, can ask is this: who is your athlete becoming? Because with the right words, we have the incredible power to help shape that answer.